You want to tell them what you did for me?
I created it. She recorded the video. I created the smart plan. She gave me the database. I loaded the database in Command with a tag and sent out I created an email basically in Command and set it up and put it out. My part was easy.
It was an email and then a text immediately thereafter, because these are the busiest agents in the world, really, let's be honest.
And then a phone call.
And we knew they probably weren't going to read the email, and they probably people reading their email, right? So then they got a text about the email. And what did the text have the little video I sent to?
Yep, I included the link. Yep.
And it worked.
And Zeke calling afterwards was, I think, a key piece of it, right?
He hasn't even made the calls yet.
Oh.
That's how effective it was. And they were so impressed because we used Command.
I also made sure that the subject line and the first line of the text was like about their opportunity.
So, boy, these smart plans can work, can't they?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, we still have like over 200 that you could still market to. Yeah, and you're like, I got it.
The first batch was what, 20 or 25?
Just 20.
Yes, it's amazing how this stuff works, and it really gave me the bandwidth. But so he actually called me this weekend to ask if he could move from Monday to Wednesday. I'm like, I think I can make that happen. He's like, I have to take he was like, I have a plane ride. If my plane got changed, is there any way you can accommodate Wednesday? I'm like, I think so. So just know.
Sounds excited, yay.
These strategies we talk about are really, really having a lot of success. I think some of us get in our own way with perfection. So just remember, it's not perfection. Yeah, I would have loved if the email, the smart plan had a cooler, headline, all that, and not every feature of it's totally ramped up yet, but who gives a rip, it worked. And the fact that we used it got this guy's attention to be like, dang. And he even said, I didn't know that stuff worked in Command. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I got to get my team on this. They keep telling me it doesn't work, but it works because it happened to me. And I'm like, yeah, it works, dude. So, so at any rate.
You're a trailblazer.
Well, no, but I needed you to implement it for me, because if I was running out of time and you were able to do it for me. So it means the world to me. And yet we just had to pull the trigger, right? We could have thought about it forever or got caught up in it forever. And you just launched that smart plan for me. And I got an appointment with the #1 agent in the world.
And Jessica did have to tell me when I tried to ask her questions, Kristen, don't overthink it.
I did.
Do it. Okay.
Let's just do it. Let's just launch this baby. So just keep that in mind, Stefan. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And, the tech we're using is frustrating right now because it doesn't exist anywhere. So, Facebook, we broke Facebook again last week. So some of you couldn't get your ad out. I think Greg, I don't know if you got your ad out or not, but I went on the chat. Facebook broke, so I think it's now the 4th or 5th time that we've actually broken Facebook ads because we've had so many leads coming through. So they're learning with us, but it's frustrating because my ad got disapproved for some reason. I'm like, I don't know why I got disapproved. It was because they had to shut us down for a while so they could fix it on their end to receive our ads. So to Greg, I know you messed with your ad and then it ran. I think that was just a timing thing. I don't think it had anything with you to say that you were trying to track buyers versus an event or whatever you changed. I think Facebook just turned it back on. So just letting you know, for any of you that ran an ad last week, they don't take your money. They don't want to bill you and not have your ad run. So that's how they shut you down so that, we're not mad at Facebook for billing us when our ad wasn't out there. I had an ad run at that same time. So I don't know when it happened, but if you had a disapproved ad last week, that was Facebook just shutting it down for a little while so that they could fix things on their end. But that's pretty cool when we break Facebook, right? It's not cool when you want your ad to come out though. It's like, what the heck's going on with this? So, patience is not my virtue. I'm sure it's not any of yours. And yet, just we got to roll with the punches, you guys, because we are trailblazers in a lot of ways. When you're blazing those trails, it can be really kind of frustrating. And yet, for those of you that need focus. Like if you're like me, I'd say don't worry about every class in the universe, but for the rest of the year, maybe business planning or a couple others might be worthwhile. So I'm just going to bring up a few that you might really just want to pick one thing and go to. So MREA business planning is a really, like, you'll leave with the workbook of your business plan. And most of you don't have the knowledge of MREA yet. You may have joined us recently. You may have not read this book a bunch of times. Looking for mine. I seriously think my book has COVID's cure in there because it's probably got some disease or virus because I've had this thing for so long, because I'm actually getting a new book and tagging it because this thing is about to fall apart and gross. But literally that's how many times I've read it. So I know how to implement this like the back of my hand. And so if I'm coaching with you, I'm like, oh, this, and this. Most of you aren't there. So when you attend MREA business planning, you leave with your own handwritten out plan with strategies based off of where your opportunities lie. So we're offering it 3 different times, 3 different instructors, the 19th, the 1st, and the 4th. So just write those dates down, November 19th, December 1st, December 4th. And then what I want you to do is go to the U Baldini training calendar and register for one of them, whatever one's going to work for your calendar, because then you have the blinders up and almost every other class doesn't matter right now, to be real honest with you. Now, these are long days because you're doing the whole plan. It's not like a 1 hour, like, ooh, you know, it's like, and then you're going to see where your holes are. It might be your database is really wimpy. It may be that, you know, you really don't feel confident in prospecting and you only want to market and social media. That's okay. You can do all those things, but you're going to kind of evaluate as you go. So I want you to think about what class for the rest of the year do I need? That would probably be it. Now, the other one I want to bring up. Now, many of you were on the call with Jake Yancarelli. Did he not light it up that day with all the stuff he shared with us? Jake is just such a dynamic trainer. He's one of the top trainers in our region, and we're lucky to have him in our office. So he's teaching his class that he gets trained and paid to do all over the nation called Lead Generate Like a Millionaire. You do not even need a computer. So if you're one of these people that are so tired of the tech and you're like, ugh, I'm over it, this is your class. And it's very similar to business planning. So I would pick one or the other. But this is going to be Jake getting in your head about what you're going to do. And you're going to walk out with a full plan. So both very similar. However, if you're like me and you're like, I am so over this Zoom, we do have 23 seats available at the office for this one. So you can actually do this in the classroom if you choose, and lunch is included. I think the total cost is like $7 because we have you have like the Remo paper that you'll get. That's your whole plan plus lunch. Now, I was told by Kevin that if you really want a seat, just to call him because he'll make sure you get in. But as soon as we hit 23, we gotta put a kibosh to that. So I honestly think every other class is moot for the rest of the year except one of these. Now, for those of you that are really struggling with attention span, James Shaw does have 12 tactics, and he covers all of them in 1 hour. And that's going to be on the 18th. But I really feel like most of you need to get your arms around your business and kind of rethink life and 2020 and really define what 2021 is going to do. And I think the full day class is probably what most of you are going to need. So that would just be my strong recommendation because there's plenty going on. Now, beyond that, I'm just trying to figure out what day. I'm going to shoot for a Wednesday to do vision boards at my house for probably 10 or 15 people if you guys want to come over. I know Kristen and I are going to do it. I'm just figuring out which Wednesday. So I'm going to shoot for a Wednesday, like 5:30 at my house or whatever, maybe 4 or whatever. So if anyone really, really wants to do that, reach out to me and I'll make sure that you get invited. It just isn't going to be this Wednesday. I just got to figure out which Wednesday it's going to be. It's not going to be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving either, obviously, because most of you are probably, well, maybe you're not traveling. Who knows, right? Now, yes, Kristen. Oh, you're muted, hon.
Sorry, I just want to say real quick, we had talked on, I think it was Friday, about the Santa, and anybody who wants a Santa, I posted the phone number and the picture in the chat.
Yeah, and I just brought it up, so let me bring it up for you guys. Thank you for doing this. Now, I know Chris Nagveski wanted to do this, so we'll have to get this to him. Tampa Bay Claus, how cute. So there's his contact info. I brought this up to a couple people and everyone's like, I'm doing it on my own. I'm like, okay. So I haven't put anything formal together for the office because most people said, no, I want to do it my own way. So if I need to get a big calling for it before I hire Santa. So let me know if we want to do otherwise. I think it'd be really cool to do something in your neighborhood with the people around you or within your own business network group. And you guys are free to use the office if you needed that location. Just call Kevin and he can help coordinate so that you guys are ready to roll. And yet, if you guys do really want this to happen, we'll make it happen. So I just need feedback, but most everyone I spoke to was like, no, I would rather do my own thing. So I didn't have much group request for that. One thing we're talking about today is the storm. So the storm looks like it might become something. And I brought it up this morning. And for those of you that haven't been through a named storm, it really mucks up transactions besides making everyone nervous about a storm coming. So you're unable to bind insurance with named storms. I posted this morning early on our office Facebook page, and I asked if we can still bind. I didn't see a response yet. I don't know if we can. So if you have a deal coming up in the next 10 days or so that is going to be closing, you may be in hot water. So just know that. So as soon as these storms kick up, there's like a big box of area where they will not insure, rightfully so, right? Because the house might get destroyed. And because the storm kind of wasn't anything, and this storm was wicked to Honduras and Ecuador. And what kind of was a surprise what it did to Cuba, and now it's going back in and re-energizing. So, and if you look at the cone, like we're like smack dab in the middle. So the chance of us having some sort of surge or even a Hurricane 1, and just remember Michael, which took out Mexico Beach, was a 1 until it hit landfall, and then 6 hours later it was a 4. So, I'm not trying to make anyone nervous, but I'm just like say, hey, be aware. And because I was kind of unaware, to be real honest with it. We had a kind of a tough weekend with our family. My niece and her husband and their infant, baby Morgan, who was born in October, all are COVID positive. We had a friend that passed from COVID this weekend too. So it's just been a rough week for us. I didn't even look at the TV. And then Mark's like, we got to tie up the boats. We got to get this. I'm like, oh, really? This is a big deal. And I looked, I'm like, holy cow, this is a bigger storm than I thought. So I think a lot of people might be off guard on this. This might be a great communication to send out to your database and say, hey guys, I know everyone's kind of preoccupied with everything going on. And, want to make sure you're ready for this and you're preparing for this. And if you just go to the Red Cross Hurricane Preparedness Checklist, it's a really good one. And then if you go to Pinellas and Pasco County, you can download the guides that just kind of say how to prepare, places to know, escape routes, all that, because it could become something. And yet it's not going to harm you to communicate this with people. Now, Greg, great question when it comes to Santa, to insurance. Sorry, my mind's still on Santa. Yeah, it's all insurance. So it's flood, it's everything. So know that I would reach out to your insurance preferred person or Jason Mears at the office and find out. That's why whenever we have any storms, you really want to push your people to make sure they're bound way before any of this kind of crud happens, because what it does is it just stalls all your closings. And the seller on the other side is going to be nervous. Nothing good happens. It's just not good. And depending on the damage, then you got re-inspects and all this. Even if there's no damage, the house still needs to get re-inspected. It's a whole big fun kit and caboodle. So on the Facebook, our Facebook page, I reposted that interview we did with Jason. I think it was back in June when hurricane season started. He and Brian P provided really good information. You may just want to quick watch that, but better yet, call your insurance person if you have anything that's intending to close in November, just make sure it's bound. And if it isn't, if it's too late, because that could really mess up your deal. Any questions on that? Okay. Yeah, so it's always fun. Yay, hurricane, right? Let's hope for the best though, and yet let's all be prepared. And speaking of that, yeah, COVID is still happening. Really hit home. We had a friend pass, and really young guy. Never thought that would happen. And then I'm so sick to find out if the baby has it or not, and I don't even know what they do. And then, you know, here are new parents, probably haven't slept in a month, and literally the baby is a month and 2 days old today. So I can only imagine how exhausted they are, and I'm just like fearful of that baby having it, and I don't even know what that means. So so we just gotta not forget about that, because, you know, I noticed I had the YPN event, and our YPN group did such an amazing job with their launch party. They had people flying in from all over the country, Philadelphia and Virginia Beach, and like I was like, wow, what a great event. And yet it was funny, kind of a lot of people were like anti-mask, like, I don't want to wear the darn mask. And then, you know, what a slap in the face to find out my niece and the baby have it. So just be aware. You know, I think we're just all tired of all this. We're at exhaustion, I think. So, you know, not that we need a storm now too, but, you know, just empathize with Louisiana, you guys. Louisiana got hit 5 times with hurricanes this year. So, you know, if you keep gratitude in mind, we've haven't had to deal with that, but can you imagine dealing with what you guys all have personally dealt with this year, having 5 hits, you know? So let's hope for the best, pray for everything going well, and yet don't be caught off guard. So Santa's more fun to talk about, isn't it? Especially on a Monday. Way better. So let's end with some good stuff. What do you guys got? Tell me something good. Anyone have any good news? Any new transactions? Any new listings? Let's hear some good. What do you got?
Got another listing in Union Park again. So that's 3.
So what are you gonna? So that's a great thing to capitalize off. So what are you gonna do to capitalize off that one? Because anytime you have any like wins close to each other, it's like woohoo!
I'm already posting. I'm going to be putting some ads locally, distributing and saturating with a smart plan to my database of names that I picked up through Remind for our community, and just
do.
Yep.
It's so cool when you start having wins, even if it's just one in one area. The momentum you can gain off that is so huge. And I always remind agents that it can start as simple as open houses. So if you really want to dominate a particular area, take every open house you can and do as many open houses as possible in one area. And when they see your sign with your name on it, they think, man, this guy's everywhere, you know. And then you add a little targeted Facebook marketing and maybe a postcard here or there with, you know, statistics on the neighborhood. They just assume you're dominant. So, and you actually have real wins. So that's truth, you know?
Yes, I've got a question about Rate My Agent on MLS. The experience people may have had with it. I just used it for the first time last week on a closing I had last week, and I got the best testimonial I've ever gotten in my career. And when I looked at it, it gave the opportunity to post it on several things, including Facebook. And I really hesitated to do that just because aren't I great? Put it on my page.
I know, it's kids like, look at me, I'm wonderful, right?
So I did not click on that. And if I did, I don't know if it would have forced me to the business page or would have given me the option of business page versus personal page. For me, the business page, I could put it there, but nobody goes to my business page anyway. So the only way it would make any sense would be on the personal page. And I'm not comfortable with that, but I'd be interested in feedback.
I think you do the right thing for you because you're really good at compartmentalizing your life and you like it that way. Some of us are like one, and I've gotten better about being compartmentalized. I've been trying to do less real estate stuff on my personal because I was getting too much. Like my friends weren't even probably looking at me. And so what I did is I moved things over to Jessica Fox coaching more, and then every now and then I'll share. So I get where you're headed. However, testimonials and ratings do really matter. So Jeff Gorham is using that, and he said it's been phenomenal at being able to get so many more ratings. But he does all the ratings from Google, he puts it everywhere. So I'm not sure how he's putting it everywhere, or if there was an option that you had to, pick different places. When you did it, what did it give you for choice?
I'd have to look back at the screen. I know it was Facebook, Instagram, that, there were like 4 options. Maybe Twitter. I don't know. I don't tweet anyway, or tweet.
What about Google?
He does all of those. And so for him, I spoke to him about it a while ago, but I think it was just the efficiency of gathering it and then it going everywhere. But they are on Instagram. They are on, Pinterest and Twitter and all that. So that makes sense for him. If you're not on those things, Google's the best place to put that review.
Mhm.
I will look back and see if that's an option, because